Look, contrary to popular opinion, none of this is going to be about broom corn. I'm sorry, Kent. But I did mention it. So, not many people understand the broom corn reference, but he gave a presentation at a Moodle Moot in Helena. It's all about broom corn. Look it up, it's fascinating. Earlier this morning, I showed this slide and I made a terrible faux pas because we have a third premium integrator which I left out, and I feel terribly embarrassed, but I want to make up for it. They only joined like a couple of weeks ago, so bongo, and so to make up for it, I'll show you this as well to explain that it's a video assessment system. It's really interesting, it's really slick stuff. And so welcome on board as our newest integration partner, and a round of applause. So go and talk to them or look them up. So we're here to talk about roadmaps. And this is what roads looked like near where I grew up, in the centre of Australia, out in the desert. Very red, very, very straight. And I hope our, let's say orange, not red, but let's hope the Moodle roadmap is as strong and consistent as this one. We, in the past, have had a slightly more chaotic approach to picking things that we work on in the Moodle community. And that's a good thing. In open source communities, you have a lot of chaos, and from chaos emerges order. As the lead developer for a long time, it fell to me to be the person who makes sometimes the high-level decisions, and they sometimes call that the benevolent dictator of the project. That's only going to last so long. As we get bigger and there's a lot more stakeholders and we get more important, we need more definite processes. And over the years, we've tried different things and had different processes, but we now have a new process, and this is the one going forward, and it's a very major change for us. So the new process determines the roadmap of the core features of Moodle, the ones that Moodle HQ mostly works on. Roughly 2/3 of all the code that goes into every major release is by our Moodle HQ developers, and about 1/3 comes from the community. And they're all put in together by our integrator team. We have a very tactical squad of elite developers in the integration team who are responsible for the QA process of getting code into core. But the choice of what to work on is the roadmap. So we are moving to a process where we have a 3-monthly cycle. We've been doing this for the last 6 months. Like a product roadmap week, where we get everybody off their normal tasks, and as much as possible, and we get them to focus on the roadmap. And we have a dedicated roadmap manager. Now, for the first 6 months, to get it started, I was modeling that role in this process, but I'm busy, I'm traveling. I'm away from home more than I'm at home. It's got to the point where I start going home for vacations because last few weeks I've been in South Africa, I've been in Rwanda, I've been in Singapore, Barcelona. I'm always going to Europe and Asia and the Americas. I was in Uruguay, and that's just recently. So we needed a dedicated person. So we have found one. She started today. So meet Gree. It's pronounced Gree, either hungry or angry, or hangry. I'm sure she won't mind me saying that. But she has experience as being a product manager, a product owner in other things. Her Moodle experience is not huge, but that's okay, because what we need is this person to own and manage the process and involve all of the stakeholders. And if there's one thing she's a good people person who can do this kind of stuff. So she's done nothing wrong yet. It's her first day. So all of our hopes are with her to help run this process. But the the way it works is that we have a lot of sources of ideas for the roadmap. We have, well, firstly, anyone at Moodle HQ can write a project. It may be the board. I am now on a board. I used to be just the only person running Moodle. Now, since we got an investor last year, and if you haven't heard that story, I can tell that. But we now have a board. The board can have ideas. Our commercial team can have ideas, the people inside the company responsible for those things. All the products can have ideas. So perhaps the MoodleNet project needs some work done in core so that it can interface well with the MoodleNet system that we're building. And so that's a potential project that needs to be done on core. We also get a lot of priorities from Moodle partners, and one of the benefits of being a Moodle partner is that they, A, see a lot of Moodles and have to interact with clients and understand their problems and so on. And then B, they actually have priority when it comes to suggesting what should happen in the roadmap. We are now looking at RFP. We're doing some analysis of the request for proposals that come from universities and other places, as I said this morning, to look at checklists, items that we're missing, and those are also potential projects that we need to work on. We look at the Moodle tracker. The Moodle tracker is the source of all truth when it comes to what's being worked on, tracker.moodle.org. And in there we have 60,000 plus, is it 70,000 yet? Not yet. 60,000 plus issues, which a lot of them are being dealt with. Some of them will never be dealt with. But there's a lot of things in there that are good suggestions for work that needs to be done. And you can vote on things in there, and people have. And the ones that have a lot of activity and votes, they often rise to the top, and they're potential projects too. The Moodle Users Association is an association of users that is specifically designed to bring projects to the roadmap. And there's a session this afternoon on it. Anybody here an MUA member? Got, oh, okay, quite a few of you. I can see about 15 more hands. Through the MUA, you have actually you can have some say on the roadmap. You have some weight. The MUA is designed that your weight is determined by how much money you've put in. So if you're a big member, you get a lot of votes. If you're a little member, you get a few votes. And they vote on projects and decide every 6 months what the MUA wants to have done in core. Another source is from Moodle brainstorms. And we're going to do this later in the session. We're going to go through a process, and we're going to come up with a list of what everyone here wants in core. So all of these are grist for the mill, and the idea is that they should be written up in a way that's understandable. So similar to how the MUA need to do it, everyone needs to do it. They need to have a title and a description. And that description should be clear enough that you know what the feature is. You know, you can't just say, I want gradebook to be excellent. You have to be a little bit specific. You need to make arguments against 5 criteria. So for this project, what is its alignment to the Moodle goals and that I explained this morning, right? Is this helping any of those? That's a good thing. Secondly, what's the demand? Does it have a lot of votes? Are the partners all really, demanding it right now? Did it win an MUA bid, etc., etc. The third one's about return on investment. Is it going to bring revenue to the Moodle ecosystem? And this is part of the sustainability thing. And this is something that we would never have had in this process before, say, last year. This is a new thing that we focus on. How is it helping sustainability? What is the effort it takes? It might not score high on the others, but perhaps it's super easy, and it would take a developer 3 hours to do, and it could be in core and no effort. So probably easy one to pass through. And risk. So if we do that change, what's the risk to the rest of Moodle? Are we going to affect the integrity of the code in some way? Are we breaking things, so we have all these criteria. Then currently the Moodle HQ management team, people leading, that's all the smartest people I've got easy access to, are able to come together and just evaluate those criteria, and just whoever's input their numbers, we kind of check them, do a sanity check. Maybe somebody really wants this thing in and they might have bumped up some of those numbers a bit. But we scale them all by 0 and 10. And then they're all weighted and they come to a final ranking, and then we actually know what the priorities are from 1 to 100 or something, right? And then we can put resources into it and timelines and milestones and all of that. So that's the new process. Now, there is a roadmap page, and you're going to start seeing, because it's going to be Gree's job. Gree will be running the process. She's going to be inviting in more stakeholders and including them, and searching for consensus where necessary, and publishing the results and keeping everyone informed, and coming to moots and talking about it. We should probably do this session in future, I imagine. So I want to talk now about some of the major products, what's going on. So Moodle Core. We often call the main distribution of Moodle Core. Even though it includes over 300 plugins, it's our Moodle Core distribution. So we recently had Moodle 3.5 released in May. This was the picture that shipped with it. Some of you, who's aware of the fact that I used to put pictures of my kids on the releases? Some of you. So ever since the very beginning, Moodle 1, way back in 2002, I was putting a picture of my kids on the release notes. So here's the release and a little picture. And I think the first one was actually Moodle 1.1, and my daughter's, she's a baby, and she's holding up her fingers like this, right? 1.1. This little conceit of mine has continued. The kids are now this tall, 2 of them, and for the last few years it's been, hey kids, we've got a release coming up, you better think of a good photo. And they would get him really involved. They'd say, okay, what are the features? And we'd come up with something creative. Decided to stop that. So Moodle 3.5 is the last time we're having this photo, as Moodle's grown up, and so have they. That's the photo we had. This is the photo I actually wanted, but it got vetoed. People were scared by the masks. I was like, no, it's privacy. It's a privacy thing. It's very related. But everyone was like, oh no, it's about hacking, and no. So anyway, so I got vetoed by that one. But that's my car, by the way. In case you have any doubts that I'm into Moodle, I have an orange car with Moodle license plates. So in Moodle 3.5, we had some headlines, and basically the entire company spent 6 months just doing GDPR, pretty much. A few other bits and pieces, but almost entirely GDPR. GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation from Europe. And I'm sure all of you, if you aren't familiar with it under that name, have at least noticed that in about May of this year, every single system you used started asking you about privacy and data and do you agree, and you were getting a lot of pop-ups on everything. And that's because this regulation, although it's European, applies to anybody who provides services to a European. And that goes for almost everything on the internet. So a lot of systems had to scramble to re-architect, in many cases, their systems to support this regulation. And it's a good one. What it's all about is that people should have rights over their own data. If you put data into a system on the internet, you should have the right to be forgotten, to pull yourself out of that. And all the policies around the handling of data and who uses it and who sees it and all of that stuff should be very clear and transparent. You should be able to read it and agree to it or not. You should also be able to get a copy of that data that you put into the system. And so we had to do that in Moodle. And Moodle's quite a complex system already. And plus we have those thousands of plugins on top. So the guys had to work on making changes not only to core Moodle, but then educating developers, And the whole community had to basically put work into this, and it was a huge thing. There are some moves afoot to introduce this very similar legislation here in the US, and it will spread around the world, it really will. I like it, it's a good thing. I think all our systems should behave like that. And we would have done it sooner, but it's quite hard to say, hey everybody, stop what you're doing, we're going to spend 6 months doing this massive, massive project. So that was a good thing that we were pushed to do it. Other features were question bank tagging. Okay, at least one person was keen about that. We moved to Bootstrap 4 final for themes, which is we've had an alpha version before, so that's a good step forward. And there were some improvements to the dashboard interface. Now, this is an example of how some of the GDPR screens look. So this is, you can make policies, you can create policies for the site. The policies are shown to users. You can have multiple policies. It could be as simple as a cookie policy. It could be as complex as something very complex. And once they see them all, they can agree. You can also contact a data protection officer. So that's a person who's nominated by the institution to handle privacy requests. And an example of a request might be, I want all my personal data. I want a zip file of all my personal data. So there's interfaces for that person to process all those requests and handle them and send data back and so on. I won't show more yet. So Moodle 3.6 is the release we're working on now. It comes out in late-ish November, I think, at this point. It got pushed back a couple of weeks from the normal date. But it's on track, right, Adrian? Oh yeah, absolutely, he said. So here are the headlines, right? So number one, there's a new group messaging facility with an improved interface to messaging in general. Now the reason for this is that I want to ask you actually. So hands up if you use messaging, and be honest, more than 50% of the time on your phone. When you're on your phone, you're using messaging, probably more than half the time. Some hands? Yeah, okay, almost everybody. So messaging is a huge feature. We're using messaging actually to access the internet. A lot of what goes on is you're getting articles and memes and links kind of sent to you through messaging, and that's how you get into the internet, through the lens of a group or a friend or a family or whatever. So, taxi. So in Moodle, we can do some really interesting things with messaging, and this is the first step towards that. We have an app, and messaging already works on the app, but it's one-to-one. If we get into group messaging, we can have groups that are automatically created based on the groups in the course, or on all the members of the course, or roles, or anything like that. We can just automatically create those things. And once you have those groups, when you send each other links and stuff, we can show previews inside the messaging eventually. So if you are linking to a choice activity, we could potentially embed the choice activity in the chat, and you do it right away, right? So just like if you send someone a YouTube link, you normally get a thumbnail of the YouTube video. We can do those kind of previews and build out chat as a kind of an interface. And this fits with how people are using phones, how kids are using Snapchat, how grown-ups are using Facebook, how in China they use WeChat for everything. You can do your banking through WeChat. When I go from country to country, it's really interesting how whole countries kind of start settling on a messaging platform. So there's like WhatsApp countries, and there's Facebook Messenger countries, and so on. So yes, we're going to build our own messaging, and I hope later on we'll be able to integrate our messaging with other messaging systems via a bot. So you invite Moodle into your WhatsApp chat, and Moodle sits there and acts as a conduit to Moodle in your WhatsApp chat. So you're still inside the chat you want to be in, with all your friends and whatever, but you've got your school talking to you or your university talking to you. So that's kind of where we're going, right? So the first step was just make group messaging work and make it not suck. So that's what's happened now. So the second one, improve dashboard and a course overview. I'm going to show you all this stuff in a minute. Giving grading feedback through audio and video, a big request. So actually record an audio in response to an assignment. Accessibility stuff, more privacy stuff, follow-ups from the previous work, quiz analytical tools, improvements from the MUA that got in, landed, and some improved standard support. There's some work on that. So here's a few not necessarily excellent screenshots. So the messaging kind of appears now. Now this is blue because it's a screenshot from a prototype. And I didn't get a more up-to-date one. Let me see if that prototype works. So the messaging looks like every other messaging app pretty much you've ever seen. We use Telegram internally in Moodle HQ. But it looks just like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger or all these things. This is taking too long to load, so I might skip it. But you see it over here on the side, and you can dive into a chat and get back out of a chat. You can have individual chats or group chats. Pretty straightforward. On mobile, of course, that will fill the whole screen, and it just looks like a chat app. This is a screenshot of the dashboard, the new course overview. Now, the approach that everyone's taken with the dashboard now is to, instead of having one course overview block that has a lot of functionality and tabs, to break it up into separate blocks so that you can choose them. So here you can see there is a course overview showing a picture for each course, which came in recent releases, how much complete it is, and over there the timeline is a separate block. You may or may not want it showing. You can choose. It's your dashboard. It's an individual choice. You can also show a lot more than 6 at a time on this thing, and there's different views. So this is a different view where it's the more complete summary view. You can see the summary of the course, and it's more of a longer listing. This is the more abbreviated list view, where you might have a lot of courses and you want to see them all in a more convenient way. And this shows another component, which is new, that recently accessed items now appear in a separate block, and you can make that at the top. So if you're familiar with Google Drive or Office 365, they do that, and you probably find you're just using that most of the time. That just automatically surfaces stuff you've been doing lately, so you can jump straight into that activity, which is really cool. You can also star courses. If there's particular courses you always want to be at the top, you can star them, and then they appear listed up towards the top like that, and you can unstar them just as easily. Everybody like that? Like this? Okay, good. The UX team and the whole development team done quite a lot of work on this. It's just really pushing this forward, and I hope everyone really finds it very useful. Another thing here, this is showing for the data privacy stuff. It's a lot easier now as a user to find all of the links that you need if you want to get your data out to check on the policies, all of that stuff. And this is showing that the audio feedback and video feedback work now in assignments. So in an assignment, you can just record a video of yourself directly to the student, and they'll get it. This sounds like a simple thing, but in fact it's a little more tricky because it means this stuff is going into the gradebook as well. So they had to work on how the gradebook shows this stuff too. In case you haven't seen 3.5, one of the things in 3.5 was that we now have audio and video recording. It's a simplistic but useful functionality straight into any text area. So you can just press record and it uses your webcam and records it straight in. And this is just showing that you can turn group messaging on and off on a course basis if you want to. Oh, group basis, sorry. Okay, so that's a few previews of what's coming out next month. Now, the next release, 3.7, there is 100 things queuing up for this roadmap and going through the process. Now, to prepare for that, some work's been happening on things that I just wanted to give a heads up about. Maybe you want to get involved. So one of them is the standards update. We're working on building up IMS standards compliance. That's some of the check boxes. Thank you, Nick. So we just did a project of evaluating all the standards, looking at our level of compliance. So we've got all the information in front of us, exactly how we're standing right now with those standards. We've also got, we hired a guy, anybody here know Stephen Vickers? He's pretty, yeah, I know you do, Nick. But he's a great programmer who's been, he's been working at around the IMS for a long time, and often implementing new standards in Moodle as a proof of concept. Kind of cool, Moodle being open. He doesn't have to wait for us to do it. He just goes ahead and does it, right? So we've hired him to actually do some work on some of the standards we have in here. The second bit is on Boost improvements. So there's quite a lot of work around the Boost theme. Particularly navigation is the biggest issue, I think. To get the little menus and all the navigation right. There was some stuff that was never quite finished there. Also, to use Bootstrap 4 more effectively. Bootstrap 4 is everything now. Anybody here do themes? Any themers or people involved in themes? If you're not doing Bootstrap 4 stuff, just forget about it, because we're just going whole hog into Bootstrap 4. And down the track, that will really help, because we'll be able to do things like have a button in the editor that inserts templates right into the content. And that can be quite fancy little templates. So imagine we had, a little Einstein says with a voice balloon as a template. And you could just click a button in the editor and pop that into your content and then fill out the voice balloon. And then, now you have these cool little widgety things in your content, and they're consistent right across your course. So those sort of things, you need a high level, more high level framework than just HTML5. You need all the Bootstrap type stuff. So stuff like that will be possible. Now this one I think might be popular is H5P. Now, had a Steve Jobs moment there. No, look, I love how H5P looks. I love what those guys are doing in terms of bringing HTML5 together into packages and allowing them to be customized. For those who aren't familiar with it, probably the most famous component they have is interactive video. And you can get a YouTube video and you can make it stop at 5 seconds and ask you a multiple choice question, and then you continue and you work your way through the video. It makes interactive videos. But they have lots of content types that are very cool, and people love them, and they make your courses look amazing, and they make you seem very competent, and you probably are very competent. I'm not saying you're not, but I'm just saying they make your courses look amazing. What I have never liked about it, though, is the way it's done, is that you can add them via one activity module, right? There's one activity module for H5P, and then there's a big selection process of which content type you're going to use, and then you have to configure it. And it's kind of replicating the activity chooser experience in a sub-module, which to a new user, imagine you're completely new to Moodle and you're trying to understand how to use it, you've got these two very different modes. So just that is a bit weird. The second bit is that you can insert those widgets anywhere. So you can put them in a forum post. And the widget may look like an assessment. It's asking you questions, you're getting answers right and wrong, you're getting scores, but actually none of that is going into the gradebook. It's not clear from a student point of view, what is it I'm being assessed on and what I'm not being assessed on. And so that's the kind of user interface problems we want to try and avoid. The third one is that a lot of those look like quiz questions, And yet we have a quiz, and the quiz does amazing things with reporting and statistics, and people have built huge question data banks. And so now we have this quizzy sort of thing that's spread out around the content. It's kind of messy. So I've been talking with the lead of the H5P, Sveintor, about how can we do this better, how can we do a better Moodle integration. And we've got a pretty good plan. And it includes things like putting wrappers around the content types as questions in the quiz. So that, all right, cool. I know you were involved in that, Elizabeth, too. It's, so that in the quiz you can imagine we're adding a question. You can add the normal Moodle question types, and then there's all the H5P question types. And you just select one and stick it in the quiz, and the results go back into the quiz when a student does it, and it gets wrapped up in all the reports and all the statistics, and it goes to the gradebook, and it just works Moodle style, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Well, it hasn't been done yet, but that's the idea. So, number two, it would work if the H5P content types and also LTI, configured LTI instances, appeared in the activity chooser as first level citizens. So you would go add an activity, and then in the list, now imagine the activity chooser is completely redesigned, so it's much more searchable, categorized, star the ones you want to keep. You could have 100 activity types in there and it would be no problem. Have 1,000. Then you could pick interactive video direct and insert an interactive video activity right there, right? It just feels more Moodly. It just goes straight into the configuration of that type. And the third major and last piece I want to talk about is that for inserting those things anywhere, we have a button in Atto, and in the Atto editor, and we go insert a H5P widget here, just like you would insert the Einstein thing I talked about before. In that case, though, Moodle can style it because we know what's happening. We have some control over it. We can style it and say, this is not for assessment. This is it's just a formative assessment. Or use some languages that students are going to understand. To say, this is not going towards your grades. Yeah? So that as students cruising through the course, it's very clear, this is for assessment, this isn't for assessment. So that's three basic things we can do to integrate H5P. And if we do that, I would like to just ship H5P in Moodle. Right? We just have it in there by default. So there's a lot to talk about still, and we're working on it, but we could just take the code and do it, but I would much rather work closely with them and do it properly. And so we're doing that now, and we're in discussion. So that's some news. There's a lot of other things still to be decided. As I said, GRE started today. In a couple of weeks, we're going to do a run-through of the whole process together, and we'll be more sure about what's happening in 3.7. There is Dougiamas going on tomorrow from 1:30 to 5. Starring Adrian Grieve, stand up, Adrian, just give a wave. He's come all the way from Perth also. I guess all the devs will be there. So, if you're a developer, go there. Could talk about all these things and more. I don't know how you're running the session, but it's going to be interesting. There's also an analytics session, also in core. This is Elizabeth Dalton over there. That's tomorrow at 3:30. So Elizabeth's going to be talking about the analytics platform that we've built in Moodle that we really want a lot of participation on to make it more and more useful. So there's that. Okay, next big one, the Moodle app. So about a year ago, that we released Moodle 3.4. The numbers of the app are the same as the Moodle releases, the core releases. We hit a milestone where the app hit 100% support for core features. Maybe a couple of small ones not there, but generally all the activities. And that means that it became practical for anyone who was using Moodle in a vanilla way, could say to students, just use the app, you're good with that. With Moodle 3.5, we introduced a new user interface, lots of usability. Of course, we have to support all the new things that are added in Moodle Core, so the new dashboard course images. We improved embedding of videos from Vimeo. Options for administrators to disable offline mode. There were cases where people were worried about students having all the course content on their devices, so that can be disabled. There's going to be more admin control like that in future too. There's improved mobile support for plugins, so this is a new way for developers to add mobile support to their third-party plugins, and it's a lot easier than any other method we had before. What that means is, if your Moodle site has extra plugins, as almost all of them do, you can get a developer, if they haven't already, to make it work on mobile, which means it gets all the advantages of the mobile support. We also added right-to-left languages like Arabic and Hebrew, and lots of other stuff. And as I said this morning, it's looking pretty cool. It's still developing, it's still evolving. We really want your feedback. This thing at the bottom is one of the new things that came in 3.5, the new navigation showing, I've got a chat waiting, just like you expect on apps. So all good. And of course, the desktop app has got all the same features as the mobile app and is evolving alongside. So the Moodle app for 3.6 needs to support the same sorts of things. The new course overview, the new group messaging, the GDPR follow-up stuff. The last one got dropped, unfortunately. I should take that out off the slide. The LTI 1.3 actually had some, it's not finalized. They had some changes on the standard, so we have to hold off on it a little bit, so that won't be till 3.7. Branded Moodle mobile app, get one. They're really good, $3,400 a year. Come to Moodle.com immediately. If I don't get at least 5 from this moot, I'll get sacked. I need 5, just 5, that's all, just 5. We'll pay for our plane flights. The Moodle app, there is a workshop, so Danny, stand up Danny, just give away. This is Danny Palou, he's on the mobile team. A very key member of a small but dynamic team based in Barcelona, and there's a workshop tomorrow at 3:30. Looks like if you like analytics and mobile, you've got a difficult choice. So you two will have to fight it out. Moodle Net, I spoke a bit about this morning. I'm not going to talk too much about it, because I'm just basically going to take all the thunder away from Doug's session. I keep mentioning that first beta release expected in January, just to put more pressure on Doug. But if you want to find out about it, there is a canonical URL, moodle.com/moodlenet, which takes you to the most comprehensively documented development process that Moodle has ever had. Because Doug is such a wonderful open guy. And these kinds of, you can find out all about the prototypes. There are many prototypes. I would normally play a video here and show you some of it, but I'm going to encourage you to go to see Doug, or go to that URL. You can't read this, but this is a diagram. It may have changed slightly, but what it starts showing is the back end and how all the systems in MoodleNet interact. You can find this on that URL. It explains the interactions between Moodle and MoodleNet and your app that's in your hand. There will be MoodleNet servers out there. There will be eventually many of them. There will be like a master server that's like indexing them. Your Moodle site will connect to one of those servers, and your mobile app will connect to one of those servers. And that's how you get into the network. So, in my dreams, I imagine that you are faced with a blank course in Moodle, and on the side of the screen it says, it looks like you have this. It won't say this. Looks like you have a blank course with a little clip, or paper clip. No. It says, it'll say something like, "Hey, come to MoodleNet and get some help," right? And you click into MoodleNet, and it asks you for some basic information to log in. It asks you first to create an account, and then it might say, what are you teaching? What level are you at? What language are you speaking? Here are some, and then it might suggest, here are some groups that are useful for you. Or we don't have any groups that are useful for you. Do you want to start one? And you start getting into it. Now, if there are pre-existing groups, in there you will find curated content. And some of that content could be Moodle courses or Moodle activities, which you drag back into your course. So, I was teaching, broomcorn history, 1800 to 1900, and you find the rabid group of broomcorn history enthusiasts that are collecting together that information, and you're able to drag it straight into your Broomcorn 101 or your 401 course for the advanced people. You're able to get that. And I think that's really going to help quality, right? You're going to have a base start, because once it's then you can play with it and do things with it. We want to hook this thing up to a lot of OER resources that are out there. So this will be the one place where you can search and find that stuff too. If we can build interfaces to Moodle to the different repositories that are out there. I anticipate, I hope, that the vast majority of content in the system will be OER. And we'll be pushing that and encouraging that. But there may be paid content as well. There might be. It's part of the sustainability of the system, but we'll see. We've got a way to go before that. We've got a prototype to get up that's pretty basic, and it's going to develop. I'm just telling you my dreams in front of Doug. So Doug's presenting at 1:30 p.m. Tomorrow. All right, the last thing, Moodle Educator Certificate. I said by the end of the year, trying to land this big aeroplane. Here's another view of those 22 different competencies. And you see they're quite interesting, and they're not about Moodle skills specifically. They are about professional engagement, digital resources, assessment, teaching and learning, empowering learners, and facilitating the learner's digital competence. That gives you a much more full picture of what it is to be an online teacher. And we're building this curriculum in a very flexible way. It's very customizable. So the way you would teach this to someone in a university might be different to someone in a primary school or someone in a workplace. And the curriculum has been designed to be that flexible, which is really cool. There's going to be a lot more about this tomorrow with Bob McDonald. Where are you, Bob? There's Bob. You know Bob. So there's a presentation at 12:10, a short one, and then a workshop after that. So I would suggest, if you're interested, come to the first one. If you like what you hear, come to the second one. Now, all of the roadmap information will be on this site in our docs. This is where it's always been. I would say it's been woefully maintained in the past. Gree will be making it look amazing. So that'll be the place where if you want to find out about the roadmap. And the thing what I'm tasking her with basically is, can we get a roadmap out to a year and then 2 years, right? So that we all know what's coming down the pipe. At least, the first 6 months will be definite. The next year will be a bit more hazy. 2 years, a bit more hazy. But that's where I think everyone would like to be seeing. You'd like to go to a URL like this and go, whoa, okay, I see what's coming up. I'm going to plan for my big thing I'm building to land when that feature comes out. That would be perfect. So, we've got 45 minutes left, which is the perfect amount of time to have a roadmap brainstorm. What I would like you to do is, right now, have a little moment of meditation. So, I want you to close your eyes, or stare at the middle of the screen if you prefer, if you're uneasy about people jumping you. Close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. And I want you to just focus on your breathing for a minute. And you're situated here, in this room, where 300 people have come from all over the place and brought their considerable brain power into this room. And we are all here and we have a lot of opportunities. So here we are. Now I want you to take yourself back, maybe last week, and you're sitting in front of your computer or tablet, and you're looking at your Moodle site, and you're very, very angry. Something is wrong with this Moodle site. You want to fix it. Why isn't this done? Why is it doing that? How can I fix it? What is the problem? Well, maybe it's not so serious. Maybe it's just a scratch. It's a bit of an annoyance. I'm going to stop talking for 20 seconds and let you think. And try and think of 2 or 3 things maybe, but at least one. Okay, go. All right, now we can go to this. So I hope you've got some things in mind. We're going to go here to a collaborative document that I shall be collaborating on alone. Let's hope the internet works. Please stop using the internet for a minute. Come on. Now, I don't want you to go into this document and start messing with it, please. Just pretend you can't see that URL. Oh, what's going on? Let's try and reload that. It was up before. We got... You guys didn't take me off the internet, did you? No, I seem to be there. Oh, here we go. All right. What we're going to do, I need 2 microphone runners. Have we got microphone runners? We've got one on this side and one on this side. All right, so Adrian and Danny. I need you, if you want to shout out things, not shout them out, get a microphone. So wave to them. I'm going to go this side and then this side and then this side. I'm just going to keep alternating. And I'm going to write down your suggestion. And at the end, we're going to have a voting system, and we're going to prioritize it all. And that will be the result from today. And we have 41 minutes remaining. Danny, anyone got a hand up? This guy here. Sorry, I forgot your name. Was it Dave? Ben. Sorry, Ben.
I would love to see some kind of...
If I don't mind, just so we get to know each other, if you don't mind telling your name and where you come from, that would be really cool.
Hey, I'm Ben. I'm from Blue Sky Online School, 7 through 12, all online charter in Minnesota.
Okay.
Yay, Vikings. So,
that's the sports reference?
I actually don't follow sports at all, so...
That's for the thing with the ball? Yep.
Yeah. Football.
Go.
If you can imagine a world where instead of going to lots of different places to grade lots of different things, a teacher has one consolidated place where they go to grade all of their stuff at once. So they don't have to click here and there, and that they have a list of these things need to get graded, and they can grade it all in one convenient workflow, whether it's an app, whether it's a new interface within Moodle, but it's a consolidated workflow that doesn't send teachers to 111 different places.
Okay. Wow. Might just put claps. Look, I hope you all get the clap. So that is a good one. Thank you, Ben. Over this side.
Hey, yeah, it does
Who's
work.
got it? Yes.
I got it. Hi, I'm Al.
Hi, Al.
I'm a corporate Moodle guy, and one of the things we keep coming up with is guys do things wrong, so they have to redo materials. And in order to do that, well, we need to uncheck their completion status. But I can't do that right now. We're running 3.2, and I haven't been able to find anything in any of the forums that says I can do that without going into the actual database, and I don't have access to the database. Unless some of the newer versions can do that, I haven't run across it yet.
Okay. Does anybody have a workaround to suggest? No? Is there?
Well, I need to retain all the information. If you unenroll them, the information's gone.
Is it possible in a later release? Are we certain? There is a plugin. Dan Marsden did a recompletion plugin.
Recompletion?
That's a
I'll
workaround.
write it down, thanks.
Okay. So add recompletion plugin to core. Okay. I'm going to start asking for seconders, if anyone wants to second it. Anyone want to second that? Yeah, okay. All right, good. Who's got the microphone? Yes.
I have 3 dreams. Can I talk about them or it's only one?
Start with one.
Okay.
Just because we've got a lot of people and we've got 38 minutes.
Okay. Orzu Kamolova, I am from University of Montreal. I'm the Chief Product Officer, and we already talked with you about workshop activity in Toronto, Moodle Moodle. Yes, so my dream is that our development could be a core to facilitate and improve the interface of the workshop activity. Thank you.
Okay. Add very nice new workshop interface to core. I won't put it like this. Code exists. It's nice, and yes, we have talked about it, and I'm not sure where that is. We need to push that one along. Who's next over this side? Who's got the mic?
Michael Spall, Idaho State University. An improvement to the question database so that improve efficiency and backup and restore, but also the ability to import parts of the question database, because right now it's all or nothing, and maybe even being able, like how in the file repository, if you have multiple copies of the same file, it's all referenced once. If like an MD5 sum of the question, so that
that happens. That stuff happens. Like
do they deduplicate?
If you're restoring a question that you already have, it will not duplicate it.
Okay.
That part works, but you wanted selective backup restore.
Yeah, because some people's question database has gotten so big that it's slowing down the restore on the course, and then they don't really need all that anymore, and they want to just restore part of it.
Got it. Anyone second selective? All right. I'm selectively asking for seconds also, apparently. Selective backup and restore of quiz questions. Wow. Of questions. Is that enough? Okay. All right. All right. Who's next? Who's got the mic?
Right here, in front of you.
Okay. Yep. Hi. It's really, these are bright. Hey, I can hardly see.
Hi, I'm
Hello.
Liz Johnson. I'm from the Professional Children's School in New York City. And some of my teachers, you know how the more content you add to your Moodle page, it sort of just lives there on the front of your on your page. teachers like to keep content over a few semesters or a few years, but they don't necessarily want to use all of the content that has been placed on their page. So it would be great to have some sort of repository where they could remove it off of their front page and sort of put it in a folder somewhere. So when they're able or when they're ready to kind of pull it out, they can then put it on their front page to see it.
So you can hide a
No,
section.
oh yes, but it's still there.
So
Meaning off the front page, just like totally off the front page and just sort of somewhere hidden
okay.
in, well, not just the files, but also if there's links to websites or if there's
Yeah.
a quiz.
Okay.
So all of the different
So
elements
like
that you can
a
put
private
on your,
repository of activities to draw from.
yes,
Okay.
put like give it a filing cabinet to kind of put it all in until they want to
One way you could do it is to, if you, assuming you had a second course,
Right, we
you
don't
could,
want that.
You
Yep.
could import them over there.
Yes, we know that. No,
Yep.
we want
No.
it in that course.
In the course.
But in a
Okay.
file system, just kind of off to the side,
All
so
right.
the teachers don't have to look at it.
So what
Thank you. Can
what
I
a-
get some claps, please?
Seconded. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So add a native in-course. Maybe you could push them to MoodleNet. In-course repository.
Show or hide the grayed out ones.
Oh, right. Yeah. So just have a switch to hide the hidden, totally hide the hidden ones. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So. All right, so that's a viable option. So it's going to change how I write this. Do we want to build a repository where you like cut and paste stuff in and out of? Or? Yeah.
In order for it to get from that one in the bottom that's hidden, you have to drag it all the way around and find it. But if they're just in section 2, they want to be able to say add a resource, and they go to their file cabinet and bring it into section 2.
Right. Okay. I'll just call it a native in-course repository of Moodle resources and activities. Would you ever want to, a good question there was, isn't it likely that you might want to use them in another course if you have more than one course? So it's not really in the course, it's something that you own actually. So add a personal, but what about then your friends? You want to share it with them? Yep. It's starting to sound like MoodleNet. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So MoodleNet supports this exact use case. You can push things in Moodle to MoodleNet. It could be to a private area and back. Well,
There's already a plugin
this is
that
also
does
complicated
this.
to make for developers. So
There's a
Yeah.
plugin that does this pretty well already called a sharing cart.
yes, sharing. Well, yeah, that's for
I think-
moving things around mostly.
Yeah. But then once you put things in your sharing cart, then you can easily bring it into another class. And things can live in your sharing cart and not in the class. So it's kind of like having a personal repository for content items.
All right. I'm going to keep it as that because it just describes the functionality without getting into too many details. Yeah? So you just, okay, a native personal repository of Moodle resources and activities. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to, see that was a really good example of something that goes, but you, in the tracker, in the Moodle tracker, and for these project proposals, we have to get that description concise. Otherwise it's just going to fail. No one will know what's going on. Okay, over this side, who's got the mic?
I'm right here.
Hello.
I'm Angie Morgan from Technical College of the Rockies, just in Delta, Colorado. I would like to see something to where if you change the aggregation, that it doesn't cause an error. If you already have grades in there, because that happens a lot.
Okay. Is it a bug? Probably, or I'm not sure. Okay, so fix, changing aggregate. What do you expect to happen when you change aggregation method? What do you expect to happen? That yeah. Okay. Cool. I have a very niggling feeling. It's been many years since I was involved in that piece, but there was some difficulty around that. It wasn't possible to automatically do it, but I could be completely wrong. So that's a good suggestion. Thank you. This side, who's got the mic?
I do.
Hi.
Hi, Tanya Malone with Cal Poly State University in San Luis Obispo, California.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so the consolidate all necessary grading items would be awesome, but if we can't do that, the form grading would definitely be an added plus. Because right now, one of the biggest complaints with our faculty is they want to use forums for assessment, formative assessment, but then grading those forms can be very difficult.
So to summarize, you want forum grading you want to be able to grade all forums in one interface, or you just want a better interface for grading for all the forum posts?
Say, for example, you have students post and then reply to 2 people.
Yep.
Being able to know that they've completed that, which we use completion tracking for, but we have to go look at that, and then give them a grade based on their answer. So then you need to go to the search to find the students' 3 posts, and then see what answers they provided, and then if you want to rank the posts and the replies differently. So I've taught them how to use the different tools, but it's 3 different windows they're using, and then there's the grade book that you've got to, if you're not using ranking. So I mean, it's doable, but if it was all on one page, that would be great.
Okay. Seconded, obviously. All right. Is that faster one-page forum grading interface? That cover it? All right. All right, you're really cramming them in here. All right. This one's not new. That's not new to me, that one. There is a Moodle Rooms feature, Speed Grader, which does some of that, right? Would that be sufficient for people who know that interface? Do you know it? Okay. All right, we should try and get that code from them. They're not called Moodle Rooms anymore. Moodlerooms.com is going to point to something else very shortly. Okay. This side. Who's got the mic?
Hi. My name is Jeanette Dimitrova, Austin, Texas. I support Moodle for Agency of 53,000 People, Health and Human Services Commission. And it's adult learning, and our biggest problem is we cannot generate a catalog out of Moodle that is presentable and printable. Also, in order to do that, we need to have a little more metadata fields to the courses we have. So catalog and metadata fields, so we can organize that catalog based on those fields.
Okay. Better. Anyone else want that? Okay. Better course catalog. Trying to spell it the American way, not this way. Better course catalog with metadata, tags. Does that describe it enough?
Yeah, to be printable or display. You know, the way Moodle is, we have categories, subcategories, but sometimes for different purposes, you want to organize that catalog differently. And short of exporting and, you know, designing and
how do you want it to look for a student?
To look for the students based on chapters that the student, for example, we have caseworkers in learning plans, perhaps, following pre-designed learning plans that can be matched to the catalog. But this goes deeper. If we have a good way to have those metadata fields, I think we can do that.
Well, just having metadata fields will not change the look of the catalog.
No, it wouldn't.
So I want to understand how you want the catalog to be arranged.
We want a course description, CEUs, basic information for those courses to be able to be visible right away.
Okay, so you want more details with metadators and tags.
And printable is important for, I think, for other people too.
Printable?
Printable,
A
yes.
printable course catalog.
Yes.
Why? Why?
There are many applications. One is because sometimes we market that learning instance to audiences that don't happen to have computers. It's good for reporting purposes, for management. It's good for tracking. It has various applications.
All right. Will this do it for you? Is it enough?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We can probably do, we're going quite slowly, we could probably do another 10. Okay, who's got the mic? All right.
Back here, Todd Jones from Casper College, Casper, Wyoming.
Hey, Todd.
One of the things that I'd like to see, I guess, is the opening and closing of an activity such as an assignment or quiz to be defaulted to the week date, so there is no mistakes as far as that goes.
Okay. Anyone second that? Okay. Default dates, probably all dates, right? All dates, really. I mean, if, perfect world here, wish list. Defaults, new dates to week dates. Or whatever the admin sets. Yeah? Because you might be a weekend only institution or something. Sunday school or something. Okay, who's over here? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Sorry. So Remzi Kizilboga from instructional designer from the University of Utah. So I'm working for a national program, so accessibility is very, very important for us. And also when you look at adult learning theories, accessibility, again, it's very important. But when we checked accessibility directly in Moodle inside, there's only like accessibility checker, for example, for a SCORM package, it just tells you, yes, it's accessible. But I really want to know like how it was decided. Like, like for example, at least a screen reader, for example, if there is a screen reader built in directly in Moodle and then it checks everything for us, it might be very helpful. For now, we just use like some external screen readers to make sure everything is accessible. So yeah, something like this. Accessibility.
I think you can't really build a screen reader into the website. It would be impossible to get right for everybody. That's why there's different screen readers that people use to access content. Moodle does have a lot of accessibility work done constantly.
Some
a SCORM package is it's made by the person who made the SCORM package.
Yeah, of course. Like we always want to make sure that, like before we upload SCORM packages into the Moodle, like it is accessible. Everything has alt text or everything, But in terms of the accessibility checker for the Moodle, it needs to be, just improved, really.
So you want accessibility checking on arbitrary content uploaded into Moodle? Would that be?
There's also there's already accessibility checker there, but like for example, when it is accessibility check is done, it just it just says it's accessible. Yeah, for example, for the images, it asks you to add an alt text in Moodle. But for some other activities, it doesn't tell you anything. Just say it's accessible. But I just want to know how it was decided.
Have you used the W3C accessibility checker?
Could you please?
Have you used the W3C accessibility checker?
No, I haven't.
So you can let that into your course and run it across all the pages and get very detailed responses. So you can use external accessibility checkers. There is a setting somewhere, at least there was years ago, a setting to allow those checkers to come in. It checks where the request is coming from. So that may be an answer. I'm just not sure what you're asking us to build in Moodle, because we're talking about things to build in here.
Again, it was like, maybe the only thing that can, like Moodle help us about that. Like for example, when you upload SCORM packages there, and you already decide like if everything is working, but like so you did something external, like you bring something external that you externally created and then upload into Moodle. But I want to know that like how it is consistent with Moodle. Like for example, when you upload there, of course you check SCORM packages, but what if directly in Moodle, like there are some other buttons or other text in Moodle, just besides SCORM package, and then I want to know how screen reader reads all these things as well.
Okay, so I can imagine a project where a bunch of people sat down and looked at this issue and tried to come up with strategies for better accessibility checking on content.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would say though, if you really care about accessibility, don't use SCORM at all, right? Just make native content, go simple. You don't need flashy graphics. Anyway, all right, who's over here? Who's got the mic? Who's dropping the mic?
Sherry Kokenauer with Casper College.
Okay, hello. I can't see you, but I assume you're there. Hello.
In any of the activities that you could set a due date, it would be nice as an instructor to have the option to send a reminder to the students, and maybe have an option that you remind them 24 hours, or where you could set that time frame to their either the mobile app or even to their cell phone without the mobile app.
Yeah, so notifications basically. We have a notifications system that sends it to those whatever devices.
But giving the teacher the option of sending that and then the time.
Before due dates. Some plugins do this. I've seen it before. Oh, then individualize it for different students. We're all imagining the same horrible interface, I'm sure. Okay. Sorry, you said, we're getting down a rabbit hole here, but you said individualize it for people with different end dates. Different start dates. Yeah. Yeah. That's a separate feature, which I'll happily suggest, which is to add relative due dates, relative to the start of the course. Okay. Yeah, it's a popular one. Yeah, I knew it was seconded already. Only because that one has come up top in Australia, at the Australian Moodle Moot, and it was pretty high up in South Africa as well. So I know it's a big one. Woo! Might be an MUA project. Will be an MUA project. You heard it here first. Yes, yeah, it's the... Sure. To start date. Because it's the same, the start of the course, start of your enrollment. Okay. Surely your enrollment starts at the time when the course started. No. Okay, all right. To start date of course or enrollment. Okay. Okay, who's next? I think we had this over here. Yes, sir.
Hi, Troy Patterson, Dearborn Public Schools, Dearborn, Michigan. Standards-based grading has been a big issue for a while, and it's becoming more and more of an issue, and we would love to see reports and questions that can go back to standards. So we have the Common Core standards. We have competencies, which reach it on a bigger level, but not down to the question level.
Right.
We have tagging for questions, but you can't really pull reports or do a lot with that at this point. So we'd really like to be able to write questions to individual standards, so you could have one quiz that would address multiple standards and then be able to pull that information out.
Yep. With that, does it sum it up? Extend the competency system down to the lowest level? Yeah. That actually was in scope when the competencies was already being added, but it sounds really good when you say it how you said it, but when you actually look at it, it's kind of a nightmare. In practice, because those state standards are very general often, and to put them on a single question, what is President's Day or something? You got to tie it to some big competency. It's kind of hard. Anyway, still valid. Who on this side?
Hey, Jeff here from SAS Institute. I would like the idea of using the import tool, where you can, instead of just importing an entire activity, you could actually alias the activity. So the source course will, if you edit the activity in the source course, it will apply out to all of them. If you edit them in the child course, it breaks the alias, so it only affects that course itself. Just like how we do the course
Seconded.
file,
all right. Okay.
aliasing.
Okay. Allow activities to be aliases of activities in other courses or elsewhere. Seriously, if you just use another course, you'd get 90% of the way to what you want, I know. Yeah, try it. I have seen this done, actually. Some systems have done, it was in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, and they did this actually across Moodle sites even as well, and it was pretty freaking awesome. Never got into core. Totally doable. Okay. This side, I think we've got, let's say, another 5. We could squeeze in if they're quick. Sir.
Chuck McDonald, Middlesex School in Concord, Mass. The Form API has a great date time picker.
Right.
But it doesn't support 12-hour time.
Oh, well, yes, it does, doesn't it? Developers. The date picker, it does support, if you've got the right locale set, it should support 12-hour time or not. Maybe not. So you want it to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Is that okay? Anyone second that? It's not so popular. You got one. Thanks, Bob. Date time picker supports 12-hour time. Just go 24 time in your head. It's much easier. This side. Yes.
Hi. Fiona from SUNY College of Optometry. Is there a way to pin favorite features to the top of the menu? It's kind of like turn editing on, and features that faculty use a lot. I always get questions like, I can't find where that button is, because it's always under edit settings, turn editing on.
Okay. Anyone second that? Customization. Okay. So personal customization of menus. Customization of order of items in menus. Favorites. Okay, that is an interesting one. Okay, next one over here.
Yeah, Emma Richardson from Moodle Users Association and East Central BOCES. In case our project doesn't go through for configurable reports, to get configurable reports updated and added to core.
Okay. So configurable reports is a plugin. Thank you, Emma.
See if he lets us
over
come
here.
back. I'm not sure yet.
How about now? All right. Mike Buchanan from Collegiate Education out of Oak Brook, Illinois. I would love to have start and end dates on course categories and automatic opening and closing of course categories based on those start and end dates.
Oh, seconded? Start and automatic hiding of categories based on start and end dates. Are you adding on? You said and inherited? Yes, please. Okay. With the inheritance that you will use to pay for this feature, thank you very much. Over this side, I think we've got 2 more. We can do 3 maybe. All right.
Zach Risha from University of Pittsburgh.
Hey, Zach.
So one of the things I run into, I love the permission system, but a lot of times I'm perplexed at which permission is associated with which activity, or, and the documentation's kind of lacking. So I guess my request would be some way of improving that, making it a little bit more intuitive. Sometimes you have duplicates based on site, course, multiple levels. And it's not always clear what those permissions do.
Less sketchy, that'll do. Okay, over here, thank you, Zach.
Hi, I'm McLean Lucas with NC State Delta at NC State University.
Go Animal.
Yes,
Yep.
I love the recycle bin feature in Moodle. It would be great if it also included manually created items and categories in the gradebook so that instructors could restore them from there if they accidentally delete a bunch of grade data.
So you want an undo for gradebook changes?
Essentially.
Okay. Well, let's add redo while we're at it. Okay. That's, I assume someone's seconding that, right? Yeah. Over there. One more. Let's go on the last. One here and then one here, and then we're done. Okay.
Dave Pesch with Exputo, upstate New York.
Yep.
XAPI and CMI5 integration.
Sorry, XAPI what?
And CMI5.
And CMI5. What is CMI5? I don't even know.
Short version is a next version of SCORM.
Everybody uses the next version of SCORM. Okay. Ah, okay. So just in core. All right.
There's some plugins around XAPI.
Yeah. Okay. CMI5, right? Yep. Okay. Shows you I'm starting to get out of touch. What the heck? Last one. Very last one. Sorry to everyone who hasn't had a chance yet. But yes.
I've got the microphone. Mia
I want to see some scrabbling and fighting. And
Mia Mussolino, the Smithsonian. Getting back to encouraging people not to use SCORM, I think improving the lesson, the Moodle lesson would be really great.
Yep.
Because I would like to get more people to use it, but it's difficult to use.
I'm pointing at Adrian. Adrian's the component lead for lesson. Give him a hug. And also, I don't know if you caught up, who's the guy who did Simple Lesson? Yeah, you two need to talk. He's done an app, a mod called, have you seen Simple Lesson? Right, there is a plugin he's done called Simple Lesson, which is a simpler version of Lesson.
Sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, I know. So, all right, we got 22 things. We're now going to vote. Now, 22, there's about a few hundred of you. I'm going to say you've got 5 votes each. 5 votes. You are all equal members of this thing. You have 5 votes. I'm trusting you to only put up your hand 5 times. I will need a beautiful assistant to come and stand by me and assist with the counting of the hands. Who wants to come up here? There's a space. Beautiful, male or female, we're all beautiful. Anybody? Come on, someone. Yes, got a volunteer. Woo! All right. Now the way I like to count is you just kind of absorb. You just look, or maybe you...
On the ones we want to happen, and just say that one won?
No, because I'm doing it at the same time. That's the thing. It's the error correction system. So we're going to average our results for each one. Okay. And I just kind of look, I go 10, 20, 30, 40, like that, and I kind of do it. All right, so 5 votes each. So you've all seen the list. You should have some idea of what you're mostly interested in. Consolidating all necessary grading into one interface. Who's making a vote for that? Hard to see, isn't it?
10, 20, 30, 40. I made that up, like 95?
I said 44, she said 95.
There was a lot more hands. I was like 5 here, 5 there.
Come on, try again. Sorry, just have your hands again.
45.
Lasso them into groups of 10.
45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70 at least.
Yeah, I said 80 that time, so.
See?
Yeah.
I lowered, I said 75.
All right, 75. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're doing it. Okay. Add recompletion plugin to core. So the ability to set somebody to not be complete anymore. One. You can use 2 votes if you want. For one, it's okay, but then you've still got 5 total.
Did I say
30? Yeah. I said 23. Let's settle on
close.
26.
I feel like that's a close estimate.
All right. Improve the workshop interface. And some code exists, so this is not high effort. I was going to say 32. She said 35. We'll put down 34. What?
Everyone saw that. I was like, good job.
What? Oh, did I miss a high five?
Yes,
Oh.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
And everyone saw me
I'm
get
sorry.
let down. That was even more awesome.
No, I thought you were just waving.
Hi, guys.
All right. Selective backup and restore of questions. So you pick a subset, backup, restore, shift them around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're consistently higher. Must be Denver.
There were some latecomers, and you already started counting. You had to have patience.
All right. You said 45. I said 35, so I'm going to go for 40.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. A native personal repository of Moodle resources and activities. Only 1 vote for that one? Okay. 1. No, I mean you. You didn't do a double, is what I'm saying. Yeah. Oh, no. No, I don't want to change your vote.
35?
I said 30, and she's 35, 32. I'm going to go 33. Give you the... changing the aggregation method in the gradebook should recalculate without errors. I said 10, and you said 12, that's 11. Faster 1-page forum grading interface with rubrics. 60 and 55, so 57. We're like consistently 5 apart. Yeah, right?
This like fake lasso
Yeah.
I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Better course catalog display with more details, with metadata and tags and things like that. And printable. 15 and 12, which is consistent, isn't it? It must be like just not seeing a couple of people every time. 13. 14. Default the new dates to week dates, or whatever the admin wants it to be. I'm saying 10. Yeah. Well, it's the easier one. More comprehensive accessibility checking of user-entered content. Wow, you really want it back there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12?
We had some latecomers.
Yeah, 12, yeah. Add an automated reminder notifications before due dates. So, hey kids, time to put your assignment in. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow.
75.
I said 95, 75 and 95. All right, well, we'll go with 85.
Sorry.
No, it's good. Relative due dates to start date of course or enrollment. Relative due dates. It's quite creaky, this stage.
$65?
65 and 55, it's 60. No. What's that? No, that's a different one. Because that just goes on Mondays and it makes it only Mondays to Fridays or something. I think it's different. Yeah. Oh, right, was it? Oh, anyway, let's move on. We got 1 minute left and there's this light blinking at us. Look, it's blinking. Yeah, it's like
We're going to fall through the stage.
a 16-ton weight will drop out of the ceiling. Extend competencies system down to the lowest level. Quiz questions. 1, 2, 3. I said 25.
Yeah, I was going to do a 27.
Ooh, pretty close. If we get one the same,
That would be...
I hope it's the last one and we can just end on a high note here. Denver. Allow activities to be aliases of activities elsewhere. Allow activities to be aliases of activities elsewhere. Alias activities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 35. Oh, I was higher than you that time. 3. Date time picker supports 12-hour time. Definitely. Oh, come on. Don't let him be the only one. 3 people. Personal customization of order of items in menus. So favorites in menus. I said 34, 38, so it's 36. We got 6 more to do. It's hard work, right? Configurable reports updated and in core. I'm going to say 42.
I was going to go with 37.
All right, let's go for 40. Automatic hiding of course categories based on start and end dates with inheritance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like 12?
I would say 15.
All right, let's go 13. Make permissions documentation, make permission setting better. Make permissions documentation less sketchy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, you guys are like block vote over there. 5, 10, 10, 15.
I'd say 22.
22, I agree. We should have fireworks going up at some point. Undo, redo for gradebook changes, including when the aggregation stuff's up. I was going to say 20, 21. XAPI and CMO5 support in core. Popular one at the back there. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12. I'll go with yours. 12. Improve lesson interface. Adrian, look around. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 40. I'm going to say 50. You agree. I agree. Fireworks. All right, so thank you very much. What's your name, sorry?
Jenna.
Jenna. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you very much for your help. That was very, very much easier. So we have the winner, I believe, is it 85 points? Is adding automated reminder notifications before due dates. Interesting. All right. The second one is consolidating all the grading into one interface. How many people here are teachers in their courses? It's only about a third. Interesting. You must hear from a lot of people who are teachers. And the third one, relative dates at 60. Well, that's it. So that is a simple prioritization process. It's somewhat similar to what MUA does, except you get more votes, and you can buy more votes if you want. That's a wrap. What I'll do is I'm going to tidy these up. I'll put them in order. I'm going to tweet them, and you'll have them, and I'll give it to Gree and Adrian, and we'll see how that goes. So thank you very, very much for being part of this. Have a nice afternoon tea, and thank you.